A warm welcome to this meditation session to you friends here at the center and to those who are joining us online. Sometimes people feel, or we may even feel, that life could be better than it is. And we carry a hope, often hidden deep in our heart, that something will happen that will cause wonderful change and make us truly happy. As meditators, we naturally share this hope, which is actually an expression of our fundamental longing for perfection. With meditation, we have a practical means to approach and realize this perfection, because it is rooted in our true nature. As meditators, we have a definite strategy. This strategy is based on making efforts that are precise and directed to a goal. And the goal is indicated in expressions like self-realization, enlightenment, awakening to the peace that transcends ordinary understanding. We can look at the practice of meditation in two ways, both of them progressive. Firstly, the regular practice of meditation launches us on a path that will develop our capacity to create peace, expansion, and freedom in the realm of our own mind. Secondly, meditation reveals to us that the ideal we're working towards is already the deepest truth about what we really are. But this truth only comes to light when we look into ourselves with a clear and peaceful mind. A clear and peaceful mind is one that is free from the self-images created by our thoughts. In other words, our consciousness expands and deepens to the extent that we can let go of our sense of identification with our limited personality and open ourselves to a higher influence that has no limits. Therefore, our way forward involves the cultivation of inner peace and the capacity to reflect with an open mind on what is deepest in us. These are skills that we all can accomplish. We all can accomplish, regardless of our age, qualifications, or any other aspect of our situation. Why is this so? The reason is that we all harbor deeper potentialities within us. And these potentialities are rooted or grounded in our ultimate self. The key practice in this awakening of our potentialities is meditation. For in meditation, our research is in the inner field of our own mind. Our attention becomes focused in a unique way as a preparation for discovering the deeper truth at the core of our own being. We may say, doesn't this inner focus come about through any kind of deep thinking? Don't we do it all the time when we have plans to develop, problems to deal with and need to work out a solution. It's true. We sometimes achieve meditative concentration when our thoughts are focused on matters of this kind. But friends, the transformative power of meditation is due to the quality and depth of the subjects we meditate on. These themes for meditation always point in some way or other to the deeper reality that underlies the mind. The themes for our meditation practice are ideas that open a way to the higher understanding. They have the power to create a clearing in our thoughts. And then we will have the inner assurance that there is a path that leads from stress to serenity, from anxiety to security, from uncertainty and confusion to a clear understanding of the meaning and purpose of our existence. As most of us know, the instructions for meditation are not complicated, and the practices can be effectively performed within the space of half an hour or less, if they're given our full attention. And we'll find that meditation will prove to be the best preparation for the day. Our practice will help us, for example, to remain calm and alert, and to view what happens during our day from a deeper and freer state of mind. In fact, we may wish to revisit the practice for a little while in the latter part of our day, to retune our mind, so to say, to the infinite values meditation opens up to us. But as with anything that is worthwhile and progressive, meditation has its challenges. One of the facts about meditation that some of us may have experienced is the contrast between the simplicity of the instructions we are given and the difficulty of achieving the peaceful and concentrated state of mind they signify. The practices invite us to sit still, serenely focused on some uplifting theme or quality. And some of us may have no problems or no problem with this. But for others, and perhaps the majority, what does our mind do? Too often, it continues to present to us thoughts and feelings that have nothing to do with the subject of our meditation. These thoughts may be quite reasonable considerations to do with our present activities and concerns. There also can be irrational images and promptings based on our past experience that make our mind restless and distracted. As regards these activities, friends, we don't want them at this particular time. And we can do something about minimizing this interference. For as we practice, we will realize that we do have the inner power to dismiss or veto unwanted thoughts. At any moment, we can intervene and say to our thoughts, "Not wanted now. I will deal with you later. Now I am meditating." Or when such thoughts arise and distract us, we can simply say, "No." Experience and perseverance have shown that the inner transformation is indeed possible, provided we continue to practice regularly, and also that we're willing to develop the insight that the spiritual classics call detachment. The idea of continued practice is well known to us. It applies in any training context. Through regularity, meditation becomes a habit, a good habit. Like all habits, it acquires a dynamic of its own, so that the practice becomes an automatic and self-activating part of our daily routine. If we can manage to regularize our practice, we will find that a capacity will be created in our mind through which the meditative thoughts can be held in the mind and deepen, so that their hidden power will be actualized. We mentioned insight in the form of detachment along with practice as the other great aid to tranquilizing our mind. What do we mean by this? Detachment is easily misunderstood because it can conjure up pictures of a cool and indifferent attitude to life. And how can such an attitude help meditation practice, which is meant to be enriching, expanding, and encourages a sense of our oneness with all life? The answer relates to our growing understanding of the way our mind works. If we reflect on our inner experience, we cannot deny that there is a kind of inner illumination which is always present. Our thoughts don't occur as vague, shadowy stirrings that we can't see properly. It's the opposite. If we make an effort to observe our thoughts, we find they appear in the full glare of the light of our consciousness. We not only think, we know we're thinking, and we know what we're thinking. We can quickly find out. Our inner world turns out to be a lit realm of insight and observation. This innermost light of consciousness makes thinking possible and also enables us to know our thoughts. The thoughts themselves are not self-revealing. It is an independent light of pure consciousness, our own consciousness, that provides the light and power that reveals our thoughts. This light of consciousness does not become dim when the thoughts disappear and relit with the coming of the next thought. The same light stays constant. It never changes, never absents itself from the experience. This eternal light of consciousness is our true self, our innermost self. So true detachment is based on the fact that our real self is by nature detached consciousness, detached awareness, and being free from all ties and connections is infinite. It is the great conscious reality underlying all minds, at the back of all phenomena. In meditation, this detachment becomes conscious, for we can clearly recognize that all the mental pictures are passing appearances, that all thoughts are passing events. And this ever-changing aspect of experience can have no real connection with the everlasting light of self that reveals it. Under this self-analysis, if we ask ourselves, who then am I? The answer has to be, I am that perfect, unchanging light of consciousness that never comes nor goes. In my true nature, I am the changeless self, self-illumined, infinite. As regards physical detachment, there is wisdom in the short saying, hold tightly, let go lightly. Hold tightly, let go lightly. It means that while our life is committed to various responsibilities, we should fulfill them as best we can, to hold them tightly, firmly, with care and conscious attention. But through our meditation, we should also develop a sense of the independence of our deeper nature. And this will stabilize and strengthen us. During these times of quiet reflection, we are able to withdraw more deeply into ourselves. This will help us to meet life's changes with serenity and will be guided to do what is necessary. So friends, let us now turn to our practices for tonight. And we are going to begin with a new set of practices. So if necessary, adjust your posture. Central channel needs to be free. Our first step is to turn our attention within, calmly and reverently, in the knowledge that the deeper reality is the source of both the inner and outer life. So we pay reverence to that deeper self that is one in our soul. And we'll do this for a minute or two. Reverence to that deeper self that is one in our soul. Next comes our breathing practice. We breathe slowly, drawing up the in-breath as if from the navel to the point between the eyebrows. We establish a rhythm. And then with each in-breath, say silently, tranquility, tranquility. With each out-breath, harmony, harmony. To breathe in this way creates a current of peace and reminds us that there is much more to our nature than our so-called normal thinking process and the multiplicity of thoughts it generates. By pronouncing the word tranquility, we're referring to the calmness and indisturbability that ever prevails as the ground of our being. A tranquil mind is a harmonious mind, one that meets the happenings of life without losing our connection with that deeper tranquility of our true being. So this practice, this deeper peace will be reflected in our quietened mind. So let's do the practice together now for about 4 minutes. Breathe slowly, drawing up the in-breath as if from the navel to the point between the eyebrows. Establish a rhythm. With each in-breath, say silently, tranquility, tranquility. With each out-breath, harmony, harmony. Tranquility. A few more rounds. Tranquility, harmony. Now we come to our visualization. Imagine that the morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. We visualize the morning sun radiating here, filling our body with light, sending out rays of peace, plenty, and power. I will do this visualization in 3 stages, and I will signify the transition from one stage to the next. So we imagine that the morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. Second, the light from the sun in the heart center now spreads to fill our whole body. Third stage, the light that fills our whole body now spreads in all directions to fill and illumine all that we're aware of. Let us do the practice together now. Imagine that the morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. The morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. The light from the sun in the heart center now spreads to fill our whole body. The light spreads to fill our whole body. The light that fills our whole body now spreads in all directions to fill and illumine all that we are aware of. The light that fills our whole body now spreads in all directions to fill and illumine all that we're aware of. Light all around. Now we come to our text for meditation, and it is this. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Notice that this text is expressed in the present tense as a truth that is valid here and now. This doesn't mean that we don't have to work for it. We do. But that work is more like an uncovering or unveiling, not an attempt to add or create something new or something that is not already there. These meditations are intended to strike a note of recognition in our heart. They will do if we pursue our quest for self-knowledge with reverence and dedication. When we do the meditation, we can repeat the text to ourselves inwardly and slowly and let it sink in. Or we may choose to focus on a part of the text. If the mind wanders, bring it back calmly, but bring it back. And if necessary, take a few deep breaths, as we did in our breathing practice. And then direct your attention once more to the text. Always bring it back to the text. Om. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Om. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness. Infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Once more, bring the mind back to the text. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Friends, whether we know it or not, we all live in the light of the higher consciousness. So, taking our stand on this aspect of our being, let us end our meeting by sharing that light through sending out thoughts of peace and goodwill to all without exceptions. And we'll do this for a minute or two. Thank you for your attention and participation. Om.